I think there's a really important story I haven't told about last year. I think there are a couple, but today I'd like to talk about what happened with the surgery I was supposed to have. This is a little bit of a sore subject for me, and I think that it might resonate with other viewers, and I think it's important to be able to have a healthy dialogue about and to be a little bit more transparent about. So I'd like to talk to you about my decision to have an elective surgery, and really like the steps involved with that and what ended up happening and why things didn't really fall into place. So over the course of last year, I know I've talked about my eyebrows that I did get done. I had some electrolysis done. I think I've talked about that at least briefly, where it felt like my face was getting tased, to do, like to make sure in here wouldn't grow and inside, like underneath my eyebrows. I just really wanted to do something kind for myself to remove just a little bit, like one less thing to worry about. I had been through so much earlier in the year that I thought that while I had the opportunity, I would do those things for myself. So I did both of those things without an issue, and I ended up scheduling a surgery out of state. After talking with a couple different people. The reason I was looking to do it out of state is because having the same surgery in Massachusetts is several $1,000s more expensive. So it would have been still no fewer than $3,000 cheaper to basically fly and then fly back. So I spoke to a team. I had done, a fair amount of looking around online, looking at reviews, looking at who's, has a specialty in what I was looking to get done. And because of the distance, I did a couple of video consultations, which is over Skype or Zoom. I think it was over Zoom. I keep saying Skype. I know not a lot of people are using Skype or mentioning it anymore. But I used to use it so much, and it used to dominate the video field for so long, so it's still at the tip of the tongue for me. So the way things transpired, the way I kind of got to the decision I got to, I was kind of weighing my options, not only about where logistically to have it done, not just geographically, but also what to get done. So I ended up going with communicating with Avana Plastic Surgery in the Miami area. And I really don't want to go into too much detail. I think their staff, their communication was for the most part really wonderful. So going through, understanding, reading through all the documents that they had sent me for consent forms, things that they recommend that you purchase before the surgery, that way you have everything you need on hand while you're recovering. And I was running through the decision I ended up coming to was that I wanted to do Lipo 360, which is liposuction all the way around your torso. It's it's a really difficult subject for me to speak on because if you haven't been watching my videos for terribly long, or maybe you don't really know me, I've had I've had 2 pregnancy terminations. One of them was during the pandemic, which is still remarkably difficult for me to talk about. So one was really early on in life when I was 19, and then I had one right at the first shutdown period of time. So because of each of those, because of stress, because of genetics, because of any number of factors, the way that I'm built. I know at one point my mom had been, somebody said that she was like overproducing estrogen, and I don't know for sure. I've been tested that I don't have that problem, but that is something that I'm aware of in my genetic makeup, that is a possibility. And obviously there are some issues that come with that. She had to have some polyps removed. She had to have, different things throughout her life that she had to make adjustments around that. So because of those factors, the way that I am built, and I think that there are just some choices that were made for me about like introducing me to such a sedentary lifestyle at such a young age. I think was really bad, like really, really bad. Like I really wanted to I did dancing for periods of time in school. I did, different things to kind of stay active. I know I was always doing something in terms of clubs or like walking to school or walking home from the bus stop, but I know like because I was a latchkey kid, I was primarily like home doing homework, definitely with the television on. And my after school snacks, I know we've talked about, or I know I've made videos about the quality of food that was made available to me, and I'm not placing blame, but I do think that there was just a lot of unhealthier foods that shouldn't have been in the house. Certainly shouldn't have been in the house as regularly. And when you're a child, or when you're younger, you really can't actively, you might not have the understanding yet, depending on how old you are. You might not have the understanding of nutrition. And then B, even if you do learn about nutrition and how food works and how your body breaks things down in school, you still don't have the power to, like, there's no income, there's no real say. If your parents, grandparents, whoever is supervising you say, this is what I've picked up, this is the food that's available, I think that a large part of it is because the widely available information on nutrition just wasn't available generations back. So I think that what I'm just really trying to say is that I can make all the healthy decisions now, and I believe I am. I really do have, like, I get my, fruits and veggies every day. I'm drinking gallons of green tea and water. I stay very, very hydrated. And for every cup of coffee these days, I'm having 2 to 3 glasses of water. But I think starting at such a skewed, it sort of creates an uphill battle for your child. I can't stress enough how, like, I don't want to get too much into, like, the way of the world, but like different things are really, really incorrect and really awful. They're detrimental because the cheapest food available, if you're on a certain budget and you're trying to feed maybe even more than the more children you're trying to feed, the farther you need to make that stretch. And if you're on the road and things like that, I know I've talked a little bit about that in my other videos, but the food that's made available to people who are on the road has, you know, oversalted cashews, or like the salads at McDonald's are the most sugary thing. So trying to get a protein or trying to get something sensible, something that's not going to be your daily quantity of sugar in one sitting, something that's not going to be your daily like sodium intake in one granola bar, like those are all factors, but I'd really like to try and stay on point here. So I think not introducing important nutritional information in the home setting early on in a child's life, and not having, obviously, the school providing school lunches in a public school doesn't give a shit about your kid, like not once, unless it's a peanut butter allergy or seafood allergy. Like, they don't care about the nutrition that your child is consuming throughout the day. So, like, strawberry milks and chocolate milks and all these different things over the course of however many years on an exponential scale, like, I think that there are things that I really need to actively, still today, like, realize while I'm in the grocery store, like before I pick food up. Like, I have such food anxiety, as I've discussed in my other videos about, like, my mom would pick up food that I knew she shouldn't have been eating, knew that I shouldn't have been eating, and then she would say, well, if you don't help me eat it, I'm gonna eat the whole thing. So that's a food specific manipulation that I feel like I don't tolerate well being in like a bakery section almost anywhere. I tend to have like a heart palpitation-y sort of like sensation. So there are things that I'm still dealing with pertaining to that. And really, because of the genetic factors, because of the corrections I'm making within myself, because of all the gym equipment and weights and leggings, the gym leggings and the gym tank tops and everything else that I purchased over the course of the pandemic, I've really been, I feel like I've tried some of the best I've ever tried. Like, I was going through up and down the Fairhaven bike path. Like, sometimes, you know, if you go from roughly where I am to the Fort Phoenix, which is around here if you're watching this in local, it's like 3 to 5 miles that way, and then to come back the same day once you get to the fort, if you're doing that on foot, that's like 8 miles. You can lose yourself in the music the moment. So you do that, and I've always had, like, I have no problem walking, I have almost no problem power walking now that I have the appropriate, I can't speak highly enough of the Freya brand athletic bras. They are Freya Active, and they do go up to like real sizes. So this one, is a European 38. No. So the UK size is 38F on this one. So I definitely can't tell you, I can't say it more emphatically, I can't ever say it enough, like this is the company you want to go with if you want something with real support in it. I've made such a concerted effort, and I think that, you know, I have weights in my room, I have a stepping, like a athletic, hip-hop sort of step, jazz, I think of it as like a jazzercise step, but I know that's not right, but like something you would use for like cardio family of, you know, step up, step down, rinse, repeat, step right, step left. Like, I have one of those. I've used at different points, I've used the Ring Fit, which is associated with the Wii. I've done outside yoga. I feel like I know what I'm supposed to do, and more importantly, I'm doing it. It's just that, again, I feel like there's so much that I'm undoing. That was just detrimental to me as a young person. I think I got so set up for failure in terms of specifically food sensitivities and food relationships. I think that I have so much work still to do surrounding that. Like banquet tables and appetizers and things like that sometimes still do. Like, I'll see a certain food or whatever and it'll be upsetting. It'll be like an anxiety family of sensations. So I know I'm eating well now. I know I'm working out decently now. I think it's a combination of the depression I've been dealing with since the pandemic started, the lifestyle I've pretty much been, in some ways, I feel forced to live or inevitably had to deal with in one way or another, and I think that I've dealt with them the best I possibly could. I feel like there's just some stuff that either is happening with age or is happening with whatever, and I know 28 is, or would have been 27 is not the oldest, but like obviously you're not the youngest either. Like, I'm not anymore. I'm not in my early 20s anymore. The pandemic has literally robbed me of 3 years of my 20s, and I'm really rip-shitting about that. I'm so angry, honestly. Very, very angry about that. I really specifically mourn for everybody else who's got what should have been like some of the best years of their life like taken away from them. So in a lot of ways the pandemic has fully ripped my legs out from underneath me, and in ways that I'm still trying to like come up to breathe about after being pulled into a riptide. And so I purchased all of the things. I went down the list of what they recommend. I bought, you know, medical pads, which are just, you know, some gauze and different things that they recommend. I bought the supplements that they recommend you take, which includes like a higher vitamin C, a higher iron replacer or iron supplement. And I put the down payment down and I had paid everything off completely, and it came to be a month and a half beforehand, and their medical team gave me a call, and basically what happened was I had read through everything. I thought I had asked all the intelligent questions, But because I was planning on going down alone, recovering alone, had literally rented an Airbnb for myself to stay in, very, very close to everything. I had already looked at cab prices, I had already looked at whatever. I didn't realize somewhere in there either they didn't think to tell me or I overlooked it somehow, I don't know, but because I was planning on flying down by myself, recovering by myself, and then coming back up by myself within like a 10-day, 15-day period, I think it was 15 or 20 days, just to kind of bet the over. And I, again, all throughout last year, had been making intelligent food decisions, and I figured, like, okay, this is just going to be the jumpstart that I need. We had already discussed it would be like, depending on how things went, there would be like an 11 to 15 pound differential between specifically like the Hourglass area. And then they said that they had to have somebody to release me to, and that I couldn't be, like, I basically had done all my reading, done all of my preparatory stuff, purchased things, I had done Google Mapsing, looking where everything was, and again, because I wasn't driving, I would be flying and staying put for, you know, I looked at what could go wrong and what, you know, the expected healing time was. I had factored everything in, but I was planning on going alone and like telling nobody until after I was all set. So it's embarrassing to say that they were like, nope, we can't release you to a cab driver, we can't release you to wherever, and they said I basically got fully backed into like a corner because they knew that I was coming from out of state, and I basically had kind of outed myself already in like emails or whatever prior, saying like, you know, I basically had already been fairly transparent about the fact that I was gonna heal by myself and do whatever. And so with everything already paid off and all of my materials that had come in from Amazon, from different things, different companies, I panicked. I was trying to find anybody who would fly down with me, or anybody who, like, realistically, there was nobody I would have been comfortable talking to in that area that I would have trusted during such a vulnerable process. And I was like, well, I could Craigslist somebody, and, you know, just I kind of like went through the motions of like, if I do put like a Craigslist ad up or something, or try and ask for like somebody to pretend that they're my relative for 4 seconds so they can release me to them, then that's how you get murdered. That's how I become a Dateline episode after having spent all this money, all this time, all this whatever on myself while I'm at my most vulnerable. That's when something is going to go drastically wrong. Somebody's gonna put me into a, you know, situation where I'm gonna become the Red Dahlia. And so I quickly, over the course of like going into panic mode, went, nope, this is awful, this is embarrassing, this is not how I wanted this to go. I'm really, still to this moment, remarkably hurt that it wasn't able to get done in the way that I needed it to be, the way that I wanted it to be, the way I had planned for months and months and months and months and months and months and months privately about addressing a concern that I've had my entire life. I'm still upset that I couldn't find anybody. There was nobody that I could have literally nobody. I felt really let down personally. But realistically, it was a position that I had put myself in. I was very upset that I couldn't find anybody on such short notice. I had told a couple people, I had already arranged, like, this is when I'm flying, please don't contact me within this time period for tarot, for whatever, for yoga. I'm still upset about it. I was able to get everything refunded except for my small deposit, which I can still put towards another procedure with them if I ever choose to. But that's not, you know, it didn't go how it should have. And like I said, after finally getting in the headspace and saying, you know what, I'm going to pull the trigger on this. You know what, this is going to be a good decision for me. I'm going to be really proud of myself. I'm going to do this, and I'm not going to let anybody make me feel bad about it. And I had already, like, gotten completely 100% in the headset of, like, this is happening. This is going to work out for me. I have everything I need in order to be successful and to heal successfully. Yeah. And it just can add that to the list of things that absolutely did not, under any circumstances, line up for me last year. It's another character building experience, and I'm trying really hard not to let it deter me from continuing. I am still doing the best I can. I think that someday, if I'm ever afforded the same opportunity, if I ever choose to put myself into that same point with a new financial commitment, I'm just really I'm disappointed primarily in myself for not planning better, for not doing something better, and I really think that should have been better spelled out for me once I communicated to their office that I was coming from out of state specifically for this. I think it should have been in, like, red glaring font at the top of every document, like, please make sure you have your chaperone or whatever with you for the day we release you, and the whatever amount of time they recommend after. Like, that should have been much more clearly stated by the multiple people I talked to on the phone. I don't know. That's my story. Stay tuned.